And we are live. Well, welcome to the broadcast, everyone. We are here today for a treat with something I call either breakfast for nonprofits. And I am here with two wonderful guests from Texas State University. Can you guys introduce yourselves, please, quickly? Uh, Dr. Roundtree?
Hi, I'm Amy Kendall Roundtree. I'm an assistant vice president for research at Texas State University. I'm a professor here in research communication, technical communication, and I am a forever Dr. Ashford Hansard Stan and Dr. Alexis Stan.
Stan.
You're too kind, Dr. Roundtree.
Thank you, Dr. Roundtree. Dr. Ashford Hansard.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shatay Ashford Hansard. Some people just call me Dr. Shatay also. And I am a department chair of the Department of Organization, Workforce, and Leadership University, as well as a full professor, just made full professor as well. Woo woo. At Texas State. I'm also the founder of Access with the Y, Association of Collaborative Communities Equipping Youth for STEAM Success. So thank you so much for having us today.
Yes, thank you guys for joining. We'll be doing talks like this monthly, and I'm excited to have you guys. Love to work with organizations, helping them to get funded. It's an initiative that I've had for the last couple of years. Surrounding talking to individuals about how can we get funding as small nonprofit organizations in all over the country, but I live in Texas. So I wanted to ask you guys, what are some ways that nonprofits can get funding fast? Especially for those who are newly founded. I just talked to a woman out of Chicago, and she was saying they didn't get some funding because they were newer, but they had got a $75,000 within the first couple of months, but then now they didn't get some funding, because they are new. So I want to ask both of you, what are some tips that nonprofits can get funding fast? Because that's why we are doing this. We need to get funded so that we can do the greater work. Dr. Roundtree, or sorry, Dr. Ashford Hansard.
Yeah, sure. So one way that I don't think people know about is a number of federal funders have unsolicited grants that you can request that are not in a call for proposals or in a RFA, but more so request for funding authorization, but more so, in terms of funds that would probably be under $200,000 or less, or $100,000 or less, that you can request. And so you would put together what we would call like a one-page summary of your project idea. And this is related to research funded or interventions that have a research aspect of it, that you would then submit to that funder. And then you would then request for feedback and input, and they'll let you know if it's a feasible idea or not. So that's one way that is pretty popular as you're pursuing organizations such as the National Science Foundation or U.S. Department of Agriculture, Department of Labor. Typically, you can submit a one-page summary to request unsolicited funds.
Okay. Anything to add, Dr. Roundtree?
No, I agree. That is definitely a way to build a partnership or a relationship with federal agencies who are sponsors. Not all federal agencies are sponsors of funding, but many are. And just getting to know, part of what a one pager can do is it familiarizes a program officer with your organization, its mission. And so that's a really good way. It kind of, you can ask questions of them. They're kind of busy, even just sending them an email and informing if it's not by phone or by Zoom or something, even forming an email correspondence relationship with them can just help you get a little bit of insight into that agency's goals. And if they align, I mean, you won't be the only person to submit a 2-pager or like a white paper on your project, but just getting that relationship started is definitely worth it.
Okay, so would you recommend calling the agency?
I mean, you can. I don't know that they'll pick up. It's just
Because sometimes they have that number there, and
yeah,
it's pretty scary sometimes. Like every time I have to make a call, I feel like butterflies in my stomach. Like, oh my gosh, I have to make a call to these people. So I mean, I
yeah,
was just wondering about that.
yeah. You don't have to be afraid of the agencies. They are public. I mean, even if it's a state agency, they're your employees. They're taxpaying dollars is what funds them. So you don't have to be afraid. I'm just saying that sometimes federal and state agencies, they're not as responsive as they can be, not from a lack of wanting, but just from a staffing perspective and from a high turnover perspective. But can you call? Yes. Should you feel afraid of calling or reaching out? Nah.
Do you guys remember your first win of a grant, whenever it was? I know you guys have won. I don't know if it's been awarded um, a lot of grant funding, and so do you remember your first win and how it felt?
I want to hear this from Dr. Ashford Hansard. Come on, Dr. Chate.
Yes, I definitely do. And I go back to I was working on finishing my doctoral program, my PhD at the University of South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finished the dissertation, turned the dissertation in. Then not in and those who have completed a dissertation, I know everyone on this live know about that, right? It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You're talking hundreds of pages of work. So then I go to submit or work on my first National Science Foundation grant proposal.
Mm-hmm.
And so before I graduated, and so it took really a year or two for me to actually receive funding. I submitted multiple grant proposals between the first time and then when I actually was funded. But when I actually got funded in 2017, it was um, August 2017, and I don't may not have the month correct, but it was 2017. And oh man, I just first of all, it wasn't the grant program that I thought I would have been funded in. It was a brand new grant program and brand new to NSF. I was like in the second cohort of grantees. And it was an area that I didn't feel as comfortable in. And then the area that I did feel more comfortable in, that one wasn't funded. And so so sometimes as well, I think it's important to build relationships with grant funders and program officers. But also, when you see new solicitations and new program areas, sometimes it's also good to kind of check it out and see if it's something that you would want to pursue, because you never know. And that initial grant proposal is really from 2017 is what we're building upon today with the latest grant award. So yes, I fondly remember the very first grant.
Yeah, so it's sort of like I mean, were you making phone calls at that time, or were you kind of to learn? I mean, did they have a website that you could learn how to write? I mean, I know you just came out of academia, so or you were still in academia, so you kind of had your mind to write scientifically. But it's almost a formula. I talked to this woman the other day, and she's received over 15 million in contracts. And she said that she never knew how to write. Now this is, I mean, well, anyway, she came from a comptroller background though, but she
Okay.
never knew how to write. And she just said she just, kind of learned this formula, which is bidding is different than this, but I guess I guess to say like,
It's similar.
okay. But she was telling something that she told me was she's like, a lot of her what she's sent was 6 to 15 pages.
Well, yeah, yeah. The other thing I'd say too is her experience as a comptroller, like being on the, so her experience as a comptroller shows her how an institution thinks, right? Like how they speak and how their financial priorities. So she was probably able to. I think that the most important thing to remember as a research communication and tech communication pro or expert is to think about your audience and think about the context, right? The rhetorical situation is your purpose, your audience, and the design, right? And so however you write should be informed by to whom you're speaking and for what, right? So for her, she already knew the purpose because she was a comptroller, and she's like, she probably knew how institutions think and how their money flows and their money concerns, and so she probably used all of that purpose information context to write. And then knowing your audience is really important, and probably that helped her too, because as a comptroller, she probably understood how institutions like that think. So yeah, that makes sense to me that she'd be successful.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so so I guess the question would be, do you learn the writing down the road? I mean,
Well,
or
yeah, I mean, not
because
knowing.
it's a hang up for a lot of people,
I know
writing.
not knowing how should not prevent you from trying. There are
Okay.
lots of resources. I teach a grant writing course, but you don't have to necessarily take a grant writing course to read the books about it and to get feedback on it from people who've been successful. Um, it always helps to have people's input, and that's what a class or a webinar or something can do for you, or to have a writing circle or something like that. It always helps to have different people's eyes on it, because how you write, often you're in your head and you're thinking very myopically. You're kind of laser beam focused on what you're saying, that you're forgetting that maybe someone out in the world won't understand it, or it doesn't translate.
Okay, I didn't know you taught a grant writing course. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll be doing
Wondering,
it in the summer. Yeah, I do it
wow.
every.
Well, yeah, I didn't know that. I know it's at so the university. So wondering, I mean, you guys are doing this access initiative. Can you guys speak to that? Because I'm wondering, will that be a part of Access, that grant writing course?
Dr. Ashford Hansard.
Yes, so that's a great question. So in terms of the grant writing course that Dr. Roundtree teaches through Texas State University, I'm sure that we can make that course available in terms of the information if people want to register in terms of becoming a non-degree seeking student, they could do so. But also through Access, through our Access Network, and as you become a member of the Access Network, we will provide capacity building courses. So we're calling them capacity building. As a part of the capacity building, in terms of our focus is on how can we help you build capacity to launch and then sustain a successful STEAM summer camp. So STEAM, science, technology, engineering, entrepreneurship, agriculture, the arts, and mathematics. And so we really focus on STEAM and agriculture pathways while infusing entrepreneurship and the arts. And so our focus on grant writing comes from the perspective of how can we help you sustain your successful STEAM program once it's launched. And so there will be grant writing a part of that. And so we often partner together to conduct different classes as part of our Access. Thank you for putting the link up. Summit as well. We've had a grant writing pre-summit workshop. And so that's how we really take the knowledge that we gain and that we teach here at Texas State to the community through our Access Summit and being a part of the Access Network.
That's awesome. And again, can you let us know what Access is? For those who will be asking in the chat, like, what is it again? Can you just explain what exactly it is?
Yes, it's the Association of Collaborative Communities Equipping Youth for STEAM. There's that acronym again, success.
Awesome. And that organization is available to whom?
Oh, wow. It's available to a wide range of different audiences. Primarily, we're focused on our activators. And so, an activator is an organization that we see as an informal STEAM enrichment provider. So, basically, your church, perhaps you're a faith based institution, and you want to offer a summer camp to the community within your organization at your facility, and you can host about 50 students or so. So you would become an activator. You would join, and we do have some opportunities where we can supplement your budget to offer the camp, but just in general, we're looking for activators to be a part of our network. Also, you can join if you are and we like to call you an action researcher. And so those would be individuals who are community in the community offering research, really summer camps, after school programs that are research based. And so perhaps you're a faculty member like Dr. Roundtree and I, or perhaps you are someone who is just really conducting these programs in the community, but as a researcher, you would become an action researcher. We also have as well students and parents that are a part of our network. So we're looking at achievers and how can we improve the STEAM achievement gap for students of color, or underserved students rather, as well. And so we often research those in terms of how can we improve the pathways and student success in STEM and agriculture as
Yeah.
well. And so those are the general audiences overall that we're catered to, as well as our advocates. Our advocates are those who are perhaps you're in a community and you want to build a hub around you of activators and other audiences because you want to bring STEAM to your community. And so you would join us as an advocate as well.
Right. And you guys are helping I want to say, well, helping organizations to gain access to funding through the collaboration, correct?
Yes, we are. And so we have an opportunity where we are, as part of our current initiatives, we are identifying 30 sites where we can help provide some supplemental funding to offer summer camps. In addition to that, we are actively writing grants as well, where we can bring on and provide subsidies to additional network members. So when you join the network, you gain access to these opportunities that you can then be a part of these grant opportunities, written into the grant proposals, and then provided just really the benefits of the awards once they're funded.
Nice. Awesome. So that leads me to, well, that's partnership. And that is what you guys are doing
Yeah.
in this organization. But part of the partnership, because a lot of times people say it's hard to get partners, because grants ask you for partners. It's the number one reason why, well, I don't know if that's the number one reason, but that's been a reason why I didn't get some funding. And that was just the reason why a girlfriend of mine didn't get some funding today. And so I was like, you have to have partnerships. You have to learn about this. I wanted to ask the question about partnerships and what are some ways to get partnerships outside of joining Access, you guys? Outside of joining Access, which you should join Access for those of you listening. But outside of that, that would be our number one way. Because that would be digitally, they can get partners and they also can receive partners in person to help to kind of bolster their grant.
Yeah.
But what's some other ways you guys can mention how to get partners, Dr. Roundtree?
Lots of different ways. My mom used to say to make a friend, you have to be a friend. So in order to make to build a strong partnership, you have to be a strong partner, right? And so to me, that means that it's sort of like if you haven't already been doing some of the things to build your infrastructure as an organization, that is important not only from your own perspective, for accounting and for record keeping and for demonstrating your value to the communities you serve, but also it's important in terms of a partnership, right? So any partner who will want to work with you will want to know that if they invest in your vision because it aligns with theirs, that there will be a good return on investment. And so that's going to have to look like, just everything you're probably already doing to make sure that you have, sort of your infrastructure in place, right? Like you have strong financial management, you have that if you are beholden to any sort of federal or state regulations, that you are, above board in those regards, that you're monitoring and evaluating the work you do, that you're reporting the work you do, that you're transparent in the work you do, right? Like you have to, in order for someone to be like, they would be a good partner, you definitely have to show that you're making an impact in the community. And so hopefully you're also, keeping metrics that demonstrate the impact you have in the community, but also that you have all of these other ducks in a row that would be necessary so that when the time comes and an investment will be made, that they can trust that you're going to deliver on, and so that they can report to the powers that be who gave them the funding, or the powers that be who are holding them accountable, that they will everything will work out the way that they anticipate, right? And so the other thing I'd say too is, a part of what you're doing is you have to have a strong vision so that then you can articulate that vision and find the right partners who will align with you. And so because you have to have clear goals and expectations, otherwise you'll be sort of tossed about and you bantied about depending on the partner and depending on the funding opportunity, right? Like you want to have some integrity and some stability in your own vision so that you can make the strongest case for why someone should partner with you. You should be seeking feedback. You should be networking and making connections at events, and even something like the Access Summit that's each year, each summer, is a way to network not only with Access but also with the folks who come to the organization, come to the event. I would say too that it's going to be very important as a partner to be able to tell your story, and not just in anecdotal, why it's important to have. I know that everybody listening probably has an important vision and an important objective for their organization or for their church, but storytelling also involves metrics and analytics that demonstrate that this work is sustained, and that the work is not only important from a sort of philosophical perspective, but also it has made an impact in the community. I don't know that answered the question, but those are the first things that came to mind.
No, it absolutely did. And I know that you guys are on have meetings, but I thank you for joining me today to talk about partnerships, to talk about grant funding, some tips of how we can get grants, and also get connected with organizations like access.org. Dr. Shatay, they can just click the link that we will have tagged, and they can gain information on how to be a part of this this work that you guys are doing.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I recommend it, you guys. I've been working alongside this team for the last 6 months, and they are amazing, and they're doing great work, not just in Texas, but also in Florida, and not just in Florida, but really across the country. And so if you are interested, I just recommend that you reach out to ACCEYSS.org to find out more information, and you will not be disappointed. Thank you guys for joining me today. Looking forward to having you guys next time. Maybe we can do some grant writing prompts for the next Breakfast with Nonprofits.
Sounds great.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.